Hello everybody, AJ Ryzik here. Today we're going to take a look at Manjaro 0.8.11. This is the GNOME Community Edition, running 64-bit. And like I said, it's a community version, so it's not one of the quote-unquote official versions. But for those of you that know me, you know I'm a big fan of the GNOME 3 series. Really like that desktop environment, and really happy to see that it's been updated on Manjaro. Now, obviously, if you had since Manjaro is a rolling release, if you had an older version of GNOME running on Manjaro, as updates have come down the pike, you've gotten updated. But now there is a new snapshot, so to speak, up on the Manjaro site. Let me go and pull that up. Go to Firefox here, and as you can see, they've got their Firefox set up, so it goes right to the Manjaro website. And let me go and I'll just go to the downloads just so you can see. Now, recently Manjaro's website got hacked. Let me back up here a little bit so you can see that. So you can see the stuff about the new security policy report. They're running on their backup web page right now, Manjaro GitHub, and you can see right here in the notes on the homepage, they're saying that the Manjaro homepage is in the process of being redesigned. It'll have new security. They're doing a server upgrade as well. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that new website up. But in the meantime, this is where we're going for our Manjaro needs. And for doing the downloads, just click that download link. And since this is one of their community editions, just right here where it says community, click on that and you'll see right up here at the top GNOME. The last update was on January the 7th, and then you can see all the others, all the other community editions that and when they were last updated. So LXQT, PEC Window Manager, which is an awesome window manager. I've got a review up, not of this version, but I think it was back at 8.10. Very nice window manager. Cinnamon, which of course I just did a day or so ago. Open box, and you can see the rest there. Anyway, let's go and take a look at this distribution. For the most part, you can consider this a plain vanilla version of GNOME. I mean, if you look at things here, okay, we've got the Manjaro background, but you can see you still got the standard GNOME backgrounds as well as your typical Manjaro backgrounds. Personally, don't really see a need to change that, but just so you can see that. And of course, we've got our standard GNOME 3 settings right here. We are running GNOME 3.14, and for the most part, it looks like we've got almost all of the GNOME apps. If you've used some other distributions that are running the GNOME desktop, you probably notice that not all of the GNOME apps are included. For the most part, most of them are here. Excuse me. For the majority of the GNOME apps are here in this distribution. What I've noticed that we are lacking is we do not have the GNOME Software Center, which I know that it just recently was ported over into Arch, so most probably it just hasn't made it downstream to Manjaro yet. So there's that, and then the only other thing is Epiphany, which is the GNOME web browser. And I know from the previous version of Manjaro GNOME that Epiphany did not play well with Manjaro. I don't know what the reason for what was going on with it, but it would freeze. It would take forever to load up web pages, and at first I thought it was maybe I was having internet connection issues, but did some ping testing and then tried going to various websites with both Chrome and Firefox, and no, just Epiphany does not play well with Manjaro. I don't know if that's something that is consistent across all Arch distributions, or it just wasn't too friendly with Manjaro, or what the deal was. But okay, so we don't have Epiphany, which really isn't that big of a deal. There's plenty of other browsers out there, but if you're trying to get the whole GNOME stack, you are missing it. Like all of the other Manjaro distributions, we have this really nice welcome screen that pops up when you first boot up your system. You can go and deselect it right here so it won't show up on startup. Close it up. If you ever do need to pull it up again, you can just do a search for it. It's still saved on your system, so just do a search for welcome, and boom, there's your Manjaro welcome screen. So you don't quote unquote lose it if you ever want to go back to it, because it is, let me pull it back up again. It does have some nice references on there, some quick links to the README, release info, wiki, the support forums, chat, all that kind of stuff, as well as all the social media links and that sort of thing. So it is a nice reference to have. But most people probably don't want it popping up every time that they start up their system. At least I don't. As far as application goes, we got quite a haul here. Let me go and open up our applications, and as you can see, since we're running GNOME 3.14, we've got the nice new animations there. Not a big deal, but does add a little bit of eye candy for those who like that sort of thing. And I'm not going to go through all of the applications here. I just want to point out a few things, because most of these are standard applications. We've seen them all before. All bases are covered as far as the stuff that you actually that you need to have to run your distribution. You got your DVD burner, you've got file zipping accessories, flash player, calculator, a couple of games. We got chess right there and then what else did I see for games? This Tetravex right here, which is similar to Sudoku. Of course, our various, and then here's this 4 in a row, kind of like Connect 4. And as I said before, pretty much got the almost entire GNOME stack. So we've got Evolution for email, Empathy for chatting, Firefox for web browsing. We've got the GIMP for our image manipulation, HP Device Manager down here, Gparted, probably the most useful partition tool out there. And as typical with all of the Manjaro distributions, you got these various Qt web, or not web apps, but developer apps. And this is an interesting one. They've got Steam installed by default. That's something we're starting to see more and more commonly on distributions. Ubuntu still makes you, if you want to go and install it, you got to do the installation yourself. But a big variety of distributions, they're pre-installing it for you. So big thumbs up on that one. And normally I'm not much of a, at least in the past, I haven't been much of a gamer, but since I've been doing the gaming reviews, I've installed Steam myself and been playing a few games there, and doing the installation of Steam isn't a big deal, but it is a little bit of a pain in the butt on Ubuntu just because of that stupid software center. But anyway, kind of back to the applications. We do have some of the lesser seen GNOME apps here, like we have the GNOME Maps, which I think is a pretty nice mapping application. Um, Unfortunately, I think the majority of people use Google Maps, so at least like in my case, I've already got Google Maps on my phone, so and I tend to use mapping on my mobile much more often than I do on the actual computer itself. But it's a nice mapping application. It will do up directions for you, or if you're just searching for something, like I'll look for my hometown, New Richmond, Ohio. And there we are, right on the Ohio River. If we zoomed in enough, we'd probably see my wife's business down there on Front Street. Right down, somewhere down in here. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. Anyway, so it is a pretty nice mapping application. We've also got GNOME Weather. So you can just put in the name of a city. I don't know that it'll pull up New Richmond since we're such a small town. Yeah, let's try Cincinnati, which is the closest big city to me. Yeah, there you go, right there. And you can save multiple cities. So I could save, Cincinnati, save it to my places, and you can come up with a list if there's a couple of different places that you need to keep track of. So it's a pretty nice application as far as weather goes. What other one? I think that's, like I said earlier, the Software Center is not, the GNOME Software Center is not included, which is a bit of a bummer. Like I said, I'm guessing it just has not been ported over to Manjaro yet. So for tweaking the GNOME Shell desktop, we do have pre-installed the GNOME Tweak tool. And if you're familiar with the GNOME 3 desktop, you probably know all about this tool for changing the appearance, adding the extensions, changing your default fonts, all that kind of stuff. How your top bar looks and all of that sort of thing. I always like to show the date on the top bar. And then under appearance, you can see that we've got just the default GNOME look set up, from the factory, so to speak. Doesn't look like they've installed any other themes or anything like that. It's easy enough to do. Just go to your open up your package manager, search around for some different themes, different icons, that sort of thing, install them, and then you can go and pick which ones you want from here. As far as extensions, there's a fair number that are installed by default, and then of course you can go to via Firefox, go to the GNOME extension page and pick out some extensions. First time you go here, you will need to click on this allow extensions to run, allow and remember, then reload your page. And just give it a second, and it will auto detect what version of GNOME you're running, so it'll only show you not applications but extensions that are available for that particular version of GNOME. Now, if you want if you're more of a traditional menu kind of person, there's a couple that you could go with. This application menu right here is just a simple drop down type menu. If you're wanting something a little more like, say, the cinnamon menu, or what you might find in Mate, there's this one right here called the no menu. Personally, if I was going to do a menu, I would go with this one. There lots of options as far as how you want to set it up. It also retains a little search bar there for you, so that's a nice menu. Some of the things that I typically install in a GNOME desktop, of course, Caffeine, which will keep your screensaver from kicking in. Um, the media player indicator, so you can basically up here from your sound, you can control Rhythmbox, Banshee, Clementine, whatever it is that you use for your media. If you are looking for a dock application, there is Dash to Dock, this one right here, which basically converts the little sidebar that appears into a regular dock, and there's a variety of tweaks and whatnot that you can do to it, change it, how it behaves, and so on. And there is another docking application that puts it at the bottom. I think it's the Simple Dock. That is it right there. Basically just moves the dock down to the bottom. And there's also taskbar, which basically converts your top bar into a functional taskbar. That's a pretty nice extension as well. But I mean, if you're going to use this Manjaro distribution, my advice is that after you get it set up, come here to the extensions, take a look through what's available, and pick out some stuff that'll make things work a little better for you, or speed up your workflow, that sort of thing. A couple of different weather applications if you like being able to click and see the weather. I've used both of them, but I've always gotten better results with this open weather as opposed to this one down here, just simply called weather. Top icons is another good one. It'll show legacy tray icons. But like I said, just come here to extensions, go through and find stuff that'll help out your workflow. Just like other Manjaro editions or desktops, whatever you want to call it, you do have the Manjaro settings. Let me pull that up here real quick. And you will need to put in your password. And at least for me, the biggest thing here is right here, the being able to easily install and change which kernel you're using. As you can see, by default we're using 3.16.7.3.1. You could go all the way up to 3.18.1. Close out of that. And it's so much easier than what you go through on a lot of other distributions for installing different kernels. And most people, it's probably not that big of a deal that they don't have the latest kernel. But if you are a developer, or depending on your hardware requirements, having a newer or maybe even older kernel might be advantageous to you. Now, a couple issues I ran into when installing and setting up this distribution, and none of it was major, but it did create a little bit of head scratching. When I first went to install, when you're going through the setting up the installer, you have a choice between setup with or without non-free drivers. Well, I picked non-free drivers like I normally do because usually that works out best. For some reason, it wouldn't play nice with my desktop computer. Switched over, closed out the computer, started her back up, and this time went with only the free open source drivers. Everything worked fine. So, you know, I guess the lesson to be learned is if it didn't work one way, try it the other way. So anyway, there was that. Then after the installation was complete, I went to go and update my system, and it would not update. I first tried from the update system, your software updater, and it couldn't find the packages. I tried updating via the terminal, and my system told me that I was locked out of synchronizing my packages. And what it ended up being, I'm going to go and pull open File Manager here, and I'm going to show the hidden files. Okay, if you go to the VAR file folder and then go to lib and then Pacman, besides this local and sync, there was also a file in here that was essentially locking me out of syncing my repositories and packages. Basically needed to come in here, delete that file, and everything was fine. From what I remember, it's basically like a temporary file that gets put in here while Pacman is actually doing the synchronization and updating your system and whatnot. So no other system on the distribution can access those resources while it's doing its thing. Since I hadn't done any updates or anything like that previously, why that file was there, I have no idea. But like I said, basically you come in here, delete that file, and then you're ready to go. Is one of those things where it wasn't a big deal, but it was a little bit of head scratching and then a little bit of time to figure out what's wrong and then how to fix it. And probably most people that have at least some experience with Linux, they'll be able to figure it out and fix it. But probably a new user would be totally lost. But anyway, those are the only real problems that I've run into. I haven't any crashes or anything like that, so pretty happy with it being a stable release, everything functional and that sort of thing. And I guess on that note, that about finishes things up. That does finish things up. As always, give us a big old thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Leave comments, questions, all that kind of stuff down below. I will try to answer questions whenever possible. And I've got some more reviews coming up soon, more OS reviews, got some looks at some various pieces of software, a couple of gaming reviews as well. For those of you that are familiar, or maybe not even familiar with, there's an open source game called Zero AD, which is based on the old Ages of Empires game. I've got that installed on the system right now and been playing around with that, and I'll have a review of that up soon. And like I said, as well as operating systems and software, all that kind of stuff. So be sure to subscribe if you are not already a subscriber, and look forward to seeing you on the next video. Thanks a lot.